This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining and sometimes right.
The sickening part is I know with everything in my body that that's a bad bet, but something inside of me is like, but what if?
I love Travis Hunter. I love everything Colorado. I love everything Prime. He did not deserve the Heisman over Genty. He absolutely 5,000,000% did not deserve the Bolitnikoff Award for the best receiver in the country. Everyone can go fuck themselves.
You want to go in and drop that mic real quick?
We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion!
Yeah, that's trash.
The trash. Let's just start a strip club.
Dude, I'm in.
You don't want to start a strip club, boys.
We want to start a laundromat.
Did you see that Casa Diablo DJ that got stabbed?
That's exactly why I said you don't. Maybe you want to own the strip club. You don't want to be a DJ at a strip club. Yes, the
a 10-year long stripper at Casa Diablo out of nowhere during before he got busy snuck up behind the Casa Diablo DJ that's been DJing there for a while and stabbed him in the fucking chest.
Yeah, sure did. Sure did.
Apparently she's had mental issues, but people are like, well, we can't just put it on her. What did the DJ do to her? Because you don't know the whole story, but she just stabbed the fucking dude.
Is that it? I mean, I never really read the context. I mean, I just saw the headline and I was like, this absolutely needs to be on our podcast because it says, oh, where did it go? Portland DJ hospitalized after being stabbed by stripper. Listen, we've done jizz salads on this pod and we're going to do DJ getting stabbed.
Did you not see the video?
There's no video.
Yeah, the video of him getting stabbed.
I saw the video.
You did?
Yeah. Standing there. Yeah.
He was trying to set up for the night.
Yeah.
He wasn't in full he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt and a vest or something. And the stripper walked 5 feet away from him, behind him, and she was on her phone. And out of nowhere puts her phone away, power walks up to him and stabs him in the fucking chest and then runs away.
No, it was in the back.
What do you mean?
She stabbed him in the back, or it happened in?
No, it was in his chest. It was in the front.
I thought it was in his back.
See, this is why.
If you watch the video again, it was in his front because he was looking down at it, trying to grab the handle of whatever I assume it was a knife.
Yeah.
He was grabbing the handle of it, and then he was running around freaking out. He was more calm. He wasn't freaking out, but he was he got his phone out and called 911.
I mean, either way.
Undergoing multiple hours-long surgeries, a Portland man is recovering after being stabbed in the back 4 times. Duncan Allen has worked at Casa Diablo vegan strip club for over a decade.
I think that's our wedding DJ. Let's double check.
Yeah. However, never did he think he would leave work in a wambulance with stab wounds, or that he would have footage to prove it.
You know what that is? That's what happens when you don't eat meat.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not right up
Very
here.
true.
That's very true.
It's true.
Fucking vegan shit. That only vegans are capable of doing that.
Yeah, I think there was a woman who recently died after she was on a 10-year only fruits and vegetables diet, something like that.
I bet if you investigate every fucking massacre in the U.S., including school shootings, vegans.
No, I don't think
vegan. High percentage.
You think that Luigi is a vegan?
I'm not going to do.
There's no Italians that are vegans.
Exactly, but he's still a moidio.
What was that? I thought you were talking about Luigi from Mario.
No, I'm talking about Mr.
No, the guy eats at McDonald's. He's not a vegan.
Yeah, he eats out a lot, I bet. No. All right.
Seth, words.
No, that's going to be a no for me, Bob.
Yeah. Braxton, it is baby week. And for an indefinite amount of time, we will see Braxton in the great outer space, the great unknown.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Just so our audience knows, this podcast is an on-site pod. So Braxton is getting paid half for not being on site.
I thought we agreed on 75%.
Right. What's 75 of 0?
Go back to Nancy from HR and we'll figure this shit out.
We have
I'll
HR.
call Nance. I'll call
Fuck
Nance.
knows where Nancy is. She's been probably in Portugal.
She's all over the place.
The biggest narc of the operation is Brody, though. He's always snitching to HR.
Yeah, where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, it's true.
The biggest narc I know.
That is true. Of all the times that we've ever done a had to do remote of people here, Braxton is the notorious. Been down in Medford. He's been in Philadelphia. Now he's on whatever planet you're on here.
Well, it's I guess we can cloud on him for doing remote, but technically the chances I could have done remote, I just said I'm not going to be a part of it. So technically he has a more commitment to doing.
I do. And I appreciate you guys being willing to do this. I think this is actually, I don't think I know, this is the last episode that I'll be a part of before I am a father.
I'm very excited for you. How are you?
I'm a proud boy.
Our DoorDash bill is less tonight.
It is a little less, yeah. Well, okay, let's
Funny how that
guesses.
works.
What did we go with? What did we get?
I bet you got Porque no.
We did not. No, actually.
Lindsay nixed that.
She nixed it.
Hey,
She wanted to.
We got Porque, yes.
did you? Oh, I was gonna say, did you do Native American?
No. You ruined that for us.
So hold on
Sorry.
one second. Let me make sure that I can't remember if I pressed record over here. So
They didn't have any coals on the oven for the non bread. So we had to go Thai.
Fair enough.
Because you know who don't take time off? Thai people. Always open. Like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, Jared and I had pho tonight.
You don't like pho. Why would you commit to pho?
I got what's the sandwich?
On me?
Yeah, I got a banh mi and a vermicelli bowl.
I was gonna say vermicelli bowl is pretty clutch if you don't like the pho.
The
Is that
noodles
kind
are
of
cool.
interesting?
Did you
Does
know
she
that?
like it, or is she just craving it?
No, she likes it.
Eh.
Yeah. Are the vermicelli noodles supposed to be cold in the vermicelli bowl?
Not at all.
I
No?
think it could go either way.
No.
The
That's a
meat-
warm dish. Vermicelli is like a rice bowl. That's not supposed to be cold.
It was almost like they did it on purpose.
Yeah, like a cold
Because it
noodle
wasn't-
salad.
Yeah, it was like refrigerated cold.
I'm fine with it.
I assume you got a vermicelli bowl with like meat and vegetables, right? Yeah, and that's not supposed to be cold, I promise you.
Okay.
I have done
Wait.
a salad that is like a spring roll salad that is cold.
A salad with vermicelli is completely different than like a bowl with meat because that essentially is served as a rice bowl. So that's supposed to be.
Do you have a lot of salads that are hot, Pete?
Well, it's not like primarily it's has salad elements to it. It's more like a bowl.
Okay.
Call it a salad. It's a very good point.
Yeah, and of all people, you like your food like fucking scorching hot.
That is true. Well, Lindsay likes that more than I, but yes.
That's the worst.
Any scorching hot takes from you, Braxton, in regards to becoming a father?
You know, I've been kind of pushing this feeling down because I think
Yeah, suppression is the only way. Yeah.
yeah. But
That's good. For
I
you.
think I think that I'm wildly unprepared.
Yeah.
Or at least that thought is in the back of my mind, but I'm leaning into the ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. I think that
So I
I
don't
opened my
freak out.
first baby book, like I think it was the What was it called? The supportive partner or something like that. It was just kind of like step by step. I opened that like Brody's due date, and then he was a few days late. So, dude, you just got to be there. You just got to be supportive. Don't make it about you.
There's no such thing as being fully prepared when your kid is born. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I know that, and I've accepted that. So instead of like letting that make me really anxious or stressed or scared, I'm kind of just leaning into the ignorance is bliss. Like I said, just I'm just excited. I don't know what's going to come. I might be unprepared, but I'm going to give it my best and just be excited about it.
Like, just lean towards the shit that you knew growing up. If you were handed the football, you don't fumble it.
Yeah. There's a lot of intuitive.
If you fumble it, you get punished. So don't fumble the baby while you're carrying it, or you run 5,280 fucking feet, which is a mile.
Exactly.
I dropped the baby, and Jared's just like, all right, 20 push-ups.
Yeah. Don't drop the baby.
That's your lesson. It was a little strange. Like, Brody was born, and then they go, okay, like, so good night. And, like, obviously, like, once we got back to the room and everything, it was like, wait, like, this isn't a thing where you take him to some nursery and then you bring him back to us in the morning. It was just kind of like, this kid is your problem now.
That's a good thing that they're not in the separate room. The separate room means there's a problem.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was like kind of this, I think what Braxton is feeling. It's going to come at you like a freight train.
You want us to, I know we're not allowed in the room, and I'm not going to force myself to be in the room, but do you want us to tailgate the parking lot?
We could do that.
Yeah, you
There is
should.
football on.
I could use some in and out. You get a fucking bucket of fucking doubles, animal style.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely should. Especially because Jared's going to be getting a C-section. We're going to be there for 3 days. So, yeah, come on down.
You want to bring the Blackstone and make some fucking benihana?
I could, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who do you think am I referring? You think I'm talking to him? You have
I have the Blackstone. Yeah, I was like, wait, is this about me? Yes, absolutely.
Listen, we can do Blackstone, Love, Teriyaki, and In-N-Out. Yeah, all at the same time.
Wow.
And
speaking of that,
fuck Smash.
Oh, okay, whatever. Fuck you.
I saw this thing. Right. I saw this thing on Instagram the other day, and I thought it would be perfect for our friend group, specifically Miguel. But it was a Christmas party where everybody gets together and they have cocktails. And when you're nearing the end of the cocktail hour or whatever, everybody gets on their DoorDash or Uber Eats, and you have, a $25 limit. And everybody orders whatever they can for $25 from any random restaurant, and nobody says anything. And then it's like a surprise as the food arrives. And then you just have this like huge spread of random shit off of DoorDash.
Why is that perfect for me? What a fat joke.
What can you get on DoorDash for $25?
I stop at the $25 limit. That's one dish.
First of all, I don't know anybody that uses DoorDash more than you do, Miguel. Second of all,
burn Uber Eats.
Yeah,
you use DoorDash more.
Yeah, whatever. We can bump it up to 30. The price is negotiable, but I thought it would be a cool idea. Because then you get like somebody got like a taco party pack from Taco Bell. And then somebody got
I haven't had a taco party pack.
Because even for for two people, I have never gone below $25. So in that scenario, I would go fast food. I would get like a McDonald's party pack and get just a fuck ton of nuggets and McDoubles.
I also really want like a Mexican pizza from Taco Bell.
Yeah, so and then also you can have some Kentucky Fried Original Recipe chicken on the side.
Extra crispy. What the fuck's wrong with you?
We were originally not on board with this, but we're very much.
Yeah, I'm on board. You want to do it on Saturday when you have baby?
Everyone show up.
We're just all texting Jericho. Hey, what did you order? Get on your fucking phone and get on DoorDash.
I thought we weren't allowed I thought we weren't allowed to come down for like a month. Is that a lie?
What do you mean?
Oh, I just thought that you said that like we're waiting for people to meet him for like a little bit.
I mean, you're not going to meet him.
Okay.
We're just tailgating.
So we've just
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you would. I mean, yeah, I don't think you'd see the baby. It would be
Okay.
two separate things happening at the same location.
Gotcha.
People won't see us because squinting would be squinting. They'd be like, "Who the fuck's out there?"
Are we officially prepared to tell the world what the name of this baby's going to be?
I don't know what the baby's name's going to be. I think that people are assumptive, and I will say that that's a number one option. But there's 2 or 3 others that are definitely still in the hunt.
Okay, hear this out. What about Tony, but it's spelled TOEUNGHKNEIGH.
Oh, so many letters.
That's disgusting.
Tony. Ruin that kid's life before he's born.
Yeah, I mean you're spelling it out phonetically, right? So
Tony.
No, thank you.
Okay, well, we'll take it.
Any other great ideas?
How about this, Peter? I'll give you odds right now. I'll take Squintin. I mean, it's Quentin.
Right.
Squintin.
Yeah.
You take the field. $5.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
I get the field for 5.
This goddamn baby before it's born is part of a goddamn wager, like a degenerate.
First,
You guys have ruined his life.
yeah.
And
With
guess
that
what? By the
small
time he's
$5
born, DraftKings will have college bets, and his life is going to be
Yeah.
great.
Okay, so hold on. Let's make it.
Is that real?
$1.
I mean, I assume by the time your baby's allowed to bet, college will be allowed on DraftKings.
Oh, I thought you. Never mind. Okay, go ahead.
So let's make this a $10 bet. $5 to the winner. $5 to the college fund of good old nameless baby.
Sure.
Yeah.
What if Squid doesn't want to go to college and wants to go to trade school?
Well, you can still cash it out.
Yeah.
In the Roth IRA.
What if he wants to be a plumber, Peter?
That's fine. Hey,
Electrician, he'll make a
full
fuck ton
support.
of money as an
If
electrician.
Brody wants to go blue collar, I would be all in favor.
Oh,
You
yeah.
live in Lake You won't
Brody
go to a
going-
4-year university.
Brody going blue collar is the last thing that's gonna.
That is not happening.
Yeah, we're accepting here. But
Brody will go to a private college, a private university.
his name is Broderick David. So yeah.
Yeah, no way a Broderick David will own his own
Oh,
electrician.
God, he's gonna be like 3rd seat on the rowing team. It's disgusting.
sure. Yeah.
Princeton rowing team.
Oh
Broderick.
gosh.
I do remember, and we were in a similar boat, Braxton. I will tell the pod listeners, I'm sure you guys both know this. We did not have a name going into it either. We were down between Broderick and Benjamin, and finally, we got to the next day, and people had been meeting the child, and there was no name, and so finally they're like, "What's the name?" We're like, "We don't know," and then finally I just kind of sit by Lindsay. I go, "What are we gonna name?" She's like, "I don't know. I've done enough already. You decide." So, and the thing is that when he was born and he was on, I saw his eyes for the first time. I whispered to or said to Lindsay, I was like, "That looks like a Brody." And so,
Like an indecisive DoorDash decision.
yeah,
Hey, it's up to you now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard that conversation before, but it was about tacos.
I don't know. I've done enough. You decide. So that's how we came to the conclusion of
I don't-
I was name.
I think he's bullshit. I think it's going to be Quentin. It's not being
Don't you guys collude and get me?
including I made that bet knowing that it's not final, but I'm Nick Sabaning him and saying he's bullshit.
I will say that it's definitely fair that he gave you the field. Quentin, like I said, is definitely leader in the clubhouse.
We hear the other two.
I can bleep him out.
Yeah, we'll
I mean,
bleep them out.
I don't really care. So the second one is Walker,
Yeah, I've heard that.
and then the third one is Klein.
Walker, and then the third one is Texas Ranger.
Is it all John as a middle name?
Yeah.
You're not gonna go Walker because you're not Republicans. It's gonna be Quinn. Quinn.
Let's see. When we show up on Sunday to tailgate, Miguel is going to show up in whoever's CyberTruck he was in this week. What? How the hell
Yeah,
did you
can
find
we
your way
please
to
get
a
an
Cybertruck?
explanation?
That was Yawn. Fucking Yawn. The what do you call the people who lie all the time about small shit?
A habitual liar.
Yeah, like a
No, there's another. What's the other word? Call him like
serial liar, a perpetual.
it's not perpetual. Braxton, fuck the word. We've called him this a bunch of times. Not habitual or perpetual. What do you call the people that lie about small shit, like for no absolutely neat, like no reason?
A sociopath?
People that, I mean, that could also be possible.
I don't know.
People can't let this go because there's we have been talking about this forever.
Pathological liar?
Pathological liar.
There it is.
So Jan, the pathological liar at work, his girlfriend has a Tesla SUV that's getting work done, and the Cybertruck was a rental.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow!
So
a
they-
Cybertruck rental.
So they gave him an option for a Model 3 or a Cybertruck, and he goes, "I'll take the Cybertruck." So I roll into work on what, Wednesday or Tuesday? No, what's today?
Today's Wednesday.
So Monday, right? Or yesterday?
I think it was on Monday.
Monday.
Monday. I roll into work on Monday. I see a Cybertruck in front of the office, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I go up, and my coworker goes, "You see the Cybertruck out there?" I'm like, "Is that yours?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a rental." And I'm like, "I gotta see that shit." So we went to lunch. We went to the Carts in Hawthorne, and I go out, and this is the funniest part. We go out, and there's a homeless guy, because we're surrounded by homeless people in our office. There's a homeless guy just staring at the Cybertruck with just anger, holding 4 garbage bags. And you can tell he's trying to figure out how to throw the garbage bags in the back. Like how to, and the thing is, he could have just pushed one button and the cover would have rolled up.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we go out, and then he sees us walking up to the car, so he leaves. But then my coworker goes up to the driver's side, and someone had spit a loogie on her fucking.
Yeah.
But there's no door handle.
Yeah.
So at the scan, I was just curious about how this whole thing worked. So he scanned it, pressed a button, and when you press a button on the Cybertruck, the window rolls down like an inch, and then it opens the door.
Right. Okay.
This thing is surprisingly small inside. A RAV4 is bigger inside. There's absolutely no
Really?
room inside. It was fucking weird. And it drives wonky. Someone had asked me, like, this is by far my most popular Instagram story ever.
Yeah.
Someone was like, how'd it drive? And I'm like, imagine the Little Rascals go-kart, but life size. It felt like you were riding in a plastic box.
No Reba McEntire.
And naturally, my coworker runs a red light in that story.
Yeah.
And he goes, how on brand for a fucking Cybertruck driver to run a red light.
Sure.
And it's so fucking weird how the whole thing operates. Yeah, there's a giant screen inside like a Tesla. It has a little steering wheel. And everything is
Little steering wheel.
yeah, everything is digital, including like park and drive. And it was like trying to open the door was weird. Riding inside was weird. It didn't feel comfortable. The handling was fucking off. And I posted a second story that said, "Oh, you opened this door by flipping off homeless people." I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's definitely funny.
Recently, I very much have been just like kind of a dick to anyone who drives a Tesla or a Cybertruck.
We got so many dirty looks.
Yeah.
Like so many dirty looks. Like, look at these douchebags. I've never felt more of a douchebag than riding in that fucking.
Yeah, you look like one. Yeah, I get it. I totally
I
understand.
mean, I'm already a doucher, but riding in that car
Proved
did
it.
not help it
It's
at all.
validation.
I was watching those videos, and obviously the first thing I thought was, whose Cybertruck is that? And then I rewatched the first one, and I was like, this video, the way you're shooting it, because you didn't want to show yawn. It was like, this gives like I'm in my mistress's car vibe.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't want my wife to see.
I have no idea.
Until you
But
saw
I
the
have to-
people
I
until
have
you
to
saw the
show all
Chelsea
my
beats.
Instagram.
You can just put it right here.
Yeah, exactly. Until you see all the, you want all the Instagram followers to see your Cybertruck, so you have to post something, but you can't post the mistress.
I'll say this: spending what's a Cybertruck, like 120 grand for like a
Yeah.
base model.
Yeah.
No fucking chance I would even spend 60 grand on a Cybertruck after feeling how that drove. I'd like get me a fucking Porsche. Give me a Porsche Cayenne for like 100,000. That would drive so much better than this shit.
People think there's a tank, but it's like it's only good as like the tires that it's on.
My truck handled better than that
Yeah.
thing,
So
and it's $80,000 less.
Yeah.
Like, no fucking way.
I do appreciate you guys for our P1s and people who generally hear this episode coming out, Thursday morning. We're recording the podcast a little bit later than normal. We had to push it by a day because as everyone was about to mobilize for the podcast last night, I have to call both of you guys, let you know that my dog Bo got into our Christmas cookies and ate literally like 24 chocolate-based cookies. Like literally they're no-bake cookies, which is just like chocolate and peanut butter or butterscotch with like these little picnic like potato crisps or whatever. So the majority of it is chocolate. I think he probably ate over a pound of chocolate. And he did that whilst we were up. Lindsay was upstairs. He was, usually he's pretty harmless downstairs, and she comes downstairs. The whole plate is gone. Luckily, I'd taken some to work earlier in the day, or we would have gotten more. We're very fortunate to have the hindsight to have the pet insurance, so we took him into Hannah. They made him throw up and do all of that. Then gave him a bunch of activated charcoal and sent us back on our way. So luckily, a couple of things, like any damage at all to him. He's just like still very much just Bo and a puppy. And to have that insurance was clutch because you just take them in and he just did it and he didn't pay for anything. It was awesome.
This is a great advertisement for Hannah Pet Hospital.
Yeah. I do appreciate, gosh, I mean,
It's hundreds of dollars in a vet visit and your monthly payment just pays for.
Yeah, and I mean to take it even a step further, it's like right around the holidays where you're spending all of this money on gifts and everything like that. I mean, it's just like when you think about like the peace of mind to be able to like have that emergency. It was off hours, all of that, like literally like every worst circumstance was there. And we literally walked in, walked out, paid no money other than what we just pay every month. So I do appreciate them. Shout out Hannah Pet Hospital. And, regardless of, if you're in the area or not in the Portland area, to have pet insurance. And I know that both of you have pet insurance as well is actually, incredible to utilize because it's nice. Just like any insurance, you don't know when you're going to use it, but it's nice to have when you need it. So
how crazy would it be if we go from having breweries as a sponsor to Hannah Pet Hospital? I was like, that's
this degenerate sports podcast sponsored by Hannah Pet Insurance.
What can they?
And that's what I always tell people when they ask me, should I do it or not? It's like, you're going to have a moment with your dog where they do something like that. And there's going to be a moment where you're like, okay, what do we do? And being able to not hesitate at all and just be like, okay, we're going to take him into the vet and make sure everything's good. Like that peace of mind is a wonder.
Right. Yeah. Because like if we didn't, we may have just been like, oh, let's feel it out, whatever. But I mean, it's like when you really think about it, you're like, damn, this dog ate a pound of chocolate. Of course, you would need to take that dog in. So
Yeah.
But anyway, so I appreciate you guys. Apologies to our listeners if we're a little bit late. Generally on.
Yeah, I'm sure the fucker from Germany is like, what the fuck happened, guys?
Yeah. And what the hell happened with your boy Cooper Kupp, league loser Cooper Kupp in the fantasy world?
It's a real shame.
Yeah. Juan Magoo out of all of his fantasy playoffs.
This is the
All of them?
I mean, I only have two. I usually have three, but I only have two. But this is the first time since I started doing fantasy that I am no longer in playoff contention.
Oh,
The
interesting.
big money one in our league. And, I'm happy for Natalie. But if Cooper Kupp just had like 4 receptions for 50 yards, I would have fucking won.
Yeah.
But I feel like I told Peter, I'm like, I'm free to do full commentary for fucking fantasy now. I'm not in it. I have no dog in the fight. I don't want you to win because you've won the same way that people don't want me to win. Jordan, people low on the list. Mitch has had a rough go in our fantasy.
Been a long.
I wouldn't mind seeing Mitch win because even though he made the playoffs last year, he has missed the playoffs by a fucking hair every single season. So him or Natalie would be a rewarding thing for me to see one of those two win.
Yeah. I can't see.
I agree.
Go ahead, Braxton.
No, I was just going to say I agree. Obviously, I'd love to win for a third year in a row, but I know I'm also aware that it's annoying people. You don't want to see the same person win. I would not mind seeing Mitch or Natalie take it.
No one loves a dynasty, right, Braxton?
That's right.
But
and you're actually kind of good this year. You have like, a legitimate record. So it's.
But you do have to remind Braxton that he is the Kirby Smart to my Nick Saban. that in this league, that is the truth.
No, that's not
I
true.
I am the powerhouse. Okay, this year I had
Miguel.
Milrow.
Miguel, you have 2 championships in this league, and I have 3. You're my Kirby Smart.
Last year was COVID year for you. You fucking barely count.
And what if
Underdog story, baby. All the odds were against me.
If we're Kirby and Nick Saban, what would I be? Because I don't think I've
fucking Furman,
Vanderbilt or whoever.
No, you're
not even Vandy's 6-6.
You're South Alabama, who no longer has a football program.
Yeah. We're nobody you or whatever. Did you see that where Doug Gottlieb is now? I don't even remember who the hell he's coaching now. He called somebody nobody you, and then they ended up beating by 2 points. But real people cutting college basketball for all you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Fantasy football though, you had the Lowe. She paid up on the punishment, albeit she went with a group of people. We'll still call it a win or still call it a punishment, but
she gets credit for like coming through, which I do appreciate. But there is, and this league is for fun, so I get it. I'm just being I'm being a stickler along with the other people. It's for fun. It's not that deep, but the punishment should be embarrassing. Our punishment is not embarrassing for Lowe. It's not embarrassing for me and probably a few other people.
She had too much fun. Lowe, you had too much fun.
But also,
Matt was there.
The whole thing about that is you go with the bear as a date, but she was with a group.
Yeah.
So
yeah, honestly, if she wasn't, first of all, out of town, second of all, like on vacation, double out of town, she was in Florida visiting her family. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, she had she ordered it on Amazon, had it delivered there. I'm not gonna be like, oh, during this short time that you're visiting your family with your pregnant sister who just got engaged, you need to take time away from them.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's
you know what I mean.
We're just nitpicking.
Yeah,
just nitpicking.
But we've had a punishment for 3 years, and she's the first person to actually fucking do it. So hats off to her.
Yeah. No, just nitpicking. And hats off to her. And obviously, like, we can't put her last place last year in that position. It's, you know, it was a different situation. But I would be on board to change. This punishment's too easy. It's not a punishment. Just in general, let's do something more than a bear date.
This is coming from the guys who have done some serious punishments to each other, so we may not be like a very like good panel to judge what a real.
Well, it's also coming from maybe besides Peter, but it's also coming from the guys who very rarely are in that position.
Yeah, I know I'll never be last.
I'll take the nice little swipe that you just took there.
Backhand compliment.
But I was thinking, would it be interesting to have the person who took last place, like the reward that they get, but also it's a catch-22 because they might get it again, is they get to present an idea for the last place, and like the rest of the league will like approve it. Is it, you know, so they don't do like a super easy one or something.
The winner gets to decide.
No, the person who took last place, after they complete their punishment, they have to come up with the next year's one.
Oh, interesting.
That's not bad.
Because then they have to make it bad enough, but not too bad because they might have to do it.
Can it go to vote? Can we do like a trade where like if you choose to veto it, you can veto it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So maybe they come up with like 3 options and then the league votes which one.
Okay.
That's not the worst idea. The only thing is someone finishes last, they already make bad decisions. I don't necessarily trust their opinion.
Yeah.
But I do love this. I do love the stand-up idea. I do love the stand-up idea.
Yeah, that would be very funny. But again, that becomes difficult with the people out of town.
People. I mean, that's just a reel that we get to watch.
So let's see. So last week we talked about, well, again, kudos to Lowe for leaning into the punishment.
Absolutely.
So last week we talked about your dollar bets, Juan Magoo. You have a couple other ones. You have like a 51-cent one that should pay out like $297,000.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
51 cents. Who gives a fuck?
You've got like
waste money all the time.
I mean, no, like how did you even come up with that? Did you just like close your eyes and start?
Yeah, I can't even like fathom creating
I was waiting for my dog to poop, so I was on DraftKings, and I was like,
must have been a long poop.
It takes forever. He just stares at me. But it was a 2 touchdown per player bet. It was Marvin Mims for Thursday. Vidal, the backup running back for Gus Edwards for 2 touchdowns, and for Saturday, Lamar Jackson for 2 rushing touchdowns, and Pat Freiermuth on Saturday also for 2 touchdowns. 51 cents pays $200 and something thousand.
There you go.
But again, I place dollar parlays all the time, and I've hit 3 weeks in a row. I hit another one this last week for $62.
Yeah, but $62, not $250,000.
I know. I win $62, so 51 cents. Who gives a shit? It's probably not going to hit, but the idea of it leading up to Thursday sounds awesome.
There is someone had, and obviously no one would have posted this bet, but BR Betting posted like if you bet $1 on a parlay with all the players that scored 2 touchdowns on this past weekend. That was Rashad Bateman, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Brian Thomas Jr., James Conner, Mike Evans, Josh Allen, James Cook, and Jahmyr Gibbs, all ranging from like plus 1,800 all the way down to plus 310. $1 would have paid out $227,000. So it's not unforeseeable that it could
have 4 players.
Yeah. That's
it. Tell you what, you guys question it. You're not getting a piece of that.
I stand with you, Juan Miguel.
The sickening part is I know, like
people,
with everything in my body, that's a bad bet and it's not going to hit. But something inside of me is like, but what if?
Yeah, that's why you play the bets, right?
The real degenerate bet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sickening.
That's why you place those bets. We will get to college football here in a little bit, but I did want to start by talking about the NFL tonight. More specifically, Kirk Cousins getting benched in favor of Michael Penix.
About time.
And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts about that. Obviously, like, Kirk Cousins finally throws a touchdown, but then he also throws an interception, and then, he's threw for 112 yards. It wasn't like, oh no, he broke the curse.
But regardless of stats, you both watched that game.
I mean, like, it was painful.
How scared did Kirk Cousins look
when they were lobbing it into the end zone at the end of the game?
Not at any point did he look comfortable being back there.
No.
And if you're trying to make the playoffs, because they're 1 or 1.5 games away from Tampa Bay, you can't put that guy back out there. I don't care how much money you're going to lose, $85 million. You can't put him back out there. He did not look good at all.
He hasn't looked good. And I think that, like, when you draft your replacement immediately and all that's there, it's kind of just like you put him in a weird spot. You have that similar to what, like, Aaron Rodgers had with Jordan Love. It's like, you don't want the team that supposedly has your back. I mean, like, they just signed him to $180 million with $90 million guaranteed. And then they go and draft your replacement immediately. Like, that's not a good vote of confidence for you when all is said and done.
I hope Penix fails.
You do?
I do.
The UW guy.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I just don't think his ability is going to translate. We'll see. I don't think it's going to help the Falcons.
I think it would absolutely help them tremendously.
Maybe long term, I can see that, but they're still in a position. They're not like, mathematically out of the playoffs. Like, they could still make something happen. I don't know if Michael Penix is just going to come in and do that.
But are you, from seeing what Kirk Cousins did a couple days ago, are you putting him back out there?
I mean, Kirk Cousins has been in the league a long time. We've seen him have these moments where he looks really weak and then he bounces back. So to think that he's capable of doing that, I don't think is incredibly wild.
Yeah, there's a difference between having a bad game or two and then bouncing back. Kirk Cousins went 17 and whatever in the beginning, and this has been how many games that he's looked like this?
5.
Yeah, it's been 5.
If you are fighting for a playoff position after 5 games, at some point you gotta call it.
But I mean, like, there's franchise quarterbacks who have had down seasons. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's had just and that's kind of the problem with this current structure, where you have like a guy who's right there, and it's not as if like everyone is calling for Penix to be in. It's just kind of like this like thing that's looming on you that is like, if you mess this up, we have the opportunity to move on.
It's less about Penix Jr. being in. It's more about how Kirk has looked in those 5 games, where like, I don't have any confidence that you can risk bouncing back after 5 games.
I'm not sure that, like, and again, you brought this guy in for $180 million, $90 million guaranteed. You seem to have some faith and confidence that he was going to do certain things and should allow him the leash, the rope, to be able to get himself out of this. A month or 6 weeks or whatever is not indicative of a guy's entire career. It's not why you brought a guy in for $180 million.
It's not, but we're also talking about a guy who has been average his entire career. We're not talking about a Brady.
Literally.
We're not talking about a Peyton Manning. We're talking about Kirk Cousins, who is not that guy. But you're talking about coming from, specifically outside of the other 4 games, we're talking about a guy coming from playing the worst team in the league and scoring 15. When on paper, you have Bijan, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, you have a pretty good fucking offensive roster. There's just no way I would risk putting him back out there right now.
It just goes back to like, why in the world would you ever like make that decision to bring in that guy in the first place?
Well, what's the worst case scenario? Penix fails this Sunday
and then gets hurt, and then all of a sudden it's
and
just
then
like
it's Kirk
classic,
again.
right? Then it's Kirk.
It's Kirk again. But I think you owe it to the fans to at least see what Penix can
I'm
do.
not sure you see it yet. Is the only thing.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with a lot that you're saying, Miguel. I just don't. It's all about the timing of it. Like, you guys have a real chance. You have Kirk Cousins, who you've seen, have these slumps, but been able to come back. You have a kind of history that you can look back on with Kirk Cousins, whereas with Penix, he's a rookie. You have no idea how he's going to play in the NFL. Does it really make sense in this moment to just hand it all over and say, take us to the promised land, buddy? Good luck. That's the thing that kind of is like, I don't know if I'd do that.
It just goes back to like the original decision that we talked about right after the draft and everything like that, is like, you put yourself in this impossible situation. You put the players in an impossible situation in a no-win. And so it's just like, and that's where I think that the problem lies with me, is that like this, similar to Matt Eberflus getting fired this year, almost felt as much of an inevitability as either one. And so and I think it just goes back to the original decision to commit $90 million guaranteed, $180 million to this guy.
Yeah,
and immediately draft his replacement, not with a third, fourth, fifth round pick, with the 8th pick overall.
The best part I like about this is Braxton and I made a bet for just $20 about Bo Nix and Penix. The only restriction on that bet, which is very stat heavy, is injuries. So if Penix has a good game on Sunday, technically he overtakes Bo Nix's entire stats the whole season he's been playing.
Really?
What do you mean technically?
Because it's all percentages.
Yeah,
so it's not based off of full stats.
Yeah, it's not total. It's percentages. So it's best 2 out of 3, or best 2 out of 3 in these 3 things.
Interesting.
Oh wait, just kidding.
Yeah,
completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns.
It's not a percentage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. It doesn't count because he's only played one game.
Whatever, dude.
Whatever, man. Screw you guys. So, and I mean, like, now the Falcons find themselves in a bit of a bind because they're, I think they do have, the only thing is they have the tiebreaker from the Buccaneers, but both of it, if you look at either of their schedules, they both could win out.
Tampa Bay's balling out.
They sure are. Mike Evans, couple of touchdowns there.
Dude, who would have thought that Baker Mayfield could sling the rock? Yeah,
the fucking Browns organization.
I know. You love to see it, don't you? You absolutely love to see it. And so, interestingly enough, so what happens with Kirk Cousins? So now you owe this guy,
and
$90 million guaranteed. If you cut him now, you take $65 million of dead money. He's got a no trade clause. So what he has done, and what his agent had done very wisely, is backed the Falcons into a corner that forces them to cut him because they can't trade him. And so then what he can do is he can then take that $90 million guaranteed, screw over the cap situation for the Falcons, and then go and sign wherever he wants. Or he could just not play. So Kirk Cousins actually in a very favorable spot from like a negotiating standpoint, which I think is very interesting because there's no way that he gets traded. Zero chance. If y'all want to bet me, I will put $100 on it. He's not getting traded.
The thing with Kirk Cousins is like, he has never been the above average quarterback in his entire career.
Right. Yeah. He's always been a crappy primetime guy, a 500.
I mean, he did have a stretch in Minnesota. Let's not take but he's not completely average.
But to be fair, Braxton, if you make it to the NFL and you're given the opportunities that Kirk Cousins has gotten, you can achieve the same stats and record that Kirk has gotten. You can take a handful of quarterbacks that could have gotten that. The thing with Kirk Cousins that he's got going for him is he's a very likable guy, great in the locker room, and there's no complaints. He just takes everything in the chin. He is a Christian man. His teammates love him. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't get the same opportunity. They're not willing to play that game. But Kirk Cousins, make no mistake, has always been average to below average.
Yeah.
Because you can take any quarterback and give them the same opportunity, how many games played, and give them a Justin Jefferson or whoever, they would have the same fucking stats.
How crazy when we think about Kirk Cousins this year, where he was like on, I think it was Thursday Night Football, and he threw for like 5 touchdowns and like 400 yards or something crazy. He's coming back from an Achilles injury. And then now this is ultimately demise 14 games into the season. It wasn't that long ago that he was there throwing for 5 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football.
That's the thing that I feel like it's different. As much as I do understand your guys' stance on it's bad timing, why put in a rookie? It's like, to me, this doesn't look like the same slump that he's been through.
Yeah.
It's not like he's playing bad and he's just playing bad because there's drops or he's getting sacked. Mentally, there's something that's like stopping him. I mean, that Vegas performance was horrid.
Very bad against a team that is just like waiting in the water.
4 games before that, he has looked like a deer in fucking headlights where he is not doing even Kirk Cousins type shit.
Yeah. And the thing is that like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, which is that like sounds like we may have someone.
We might have a special guest. Do you have anything to say?
Show your face.
What are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins?
Miguel wants to know, or Peter wants to know what your thoughts on Kirk Cousins are.
Show your face, Jara.
Miguel says, show your face.
Well, I'm in my robe.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
There's she. Thanks, sweetheart. Look what she brought me. Yeah.
Here?
And a shot.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
What a lady.
I will say, not even my non-pregnant wife has done that for me. So
nobody I know that even likes me would do that.
And we're about 48 hours from birth, boys.
Yeah.
She's still got my back.
What a gal. Ask her to do that at the hospital. Be like, where were you? Maybe I'm stressed.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yeah, so I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here a little bit because it's like I understand the rationale, but it goes back to like, why sign the guy when you had the replacement? You put everyone in an impossible situation. It feels like an inevitability here. And unfortunately, this is the reality. But I mean, chalk this up as like least shocking storyline of the year.
Or we talk in a couple of weeks and it's all hindsight. Like, look at Penix go for 300 yards.
And he might, I mean, it's the team
honestly
for the playoffs,
And it would be very Kirk Cousins. And I'm not wishing this on Penix by any means whatsoever. Penix gets injured at the beginning of the second quarter, and Kirk all of a sudden flips the switch and just takes over the team. They win the rest of their games and they're in the playoffs.
Because now he knows that he's got a quarterback who's hurt and isn't breathing down his neck.
Yeah, but what if that is outside of Penix getting injured, because only an Oregon fan would wish that.
Yeah, and I don't wish that.
I mean, the fact that you put
what I heard.
The fact that you put it out into the world is such a duck thing. But outside of Penix getting injured, if he just played bad,
and
this move could be the wake-up call for Kirk Cousins and be like, why don't you, now we need you back, and now you need to get your shit together.
Yeah, like, all right.
Yeah, and
do it. But now they have done it, and so now it's like, oh, so you're actually serious about this. So What's pretty serious now is what's happening in Detroit. Detroit gets manhandled by the Buffalo Bills this past weekend. Josh Allen continues to look superhuman ever since. I mean, all season, but really since he got engaged. He should get more engaged more often. But the Lions lose David Montgomery, a guy, by the way, whose over/under rushing total was 775 yards, 0.5, and he finished with 775 flat.
That's a brutal bad beat, dude.
A brutal bad
By
beat.
0.5 if you had him in the season.
If you had a season bet on David
They need to pull, like, you see those clips of high school players. It's their senior year and they got injured. So they have them come in for like one final play on senior night. They need to do that.
dive for the yard.
Also,
They have to.
I just want to correct that. They did not get manhandled. Okay, that was a 48-42 game.
You're right.
That was not a manhandling by the
That's
Bills.
that's fair. It was just
Bills played a significantly better game, but they did not manhandle the Lions.
I think
will
it's
retract the
because-
manhandle.
And I get that feeling, Pete, because they jumped out to a quick lead and it seemed like, oh gosh, the Lions are not able to keep up. But towards the end of the game, obviously they fought back and made it closer than what the game felt like. But I literally was watching this game. I turned it on right as the 4:00 game starts. And I'm looking down at my phone, going through emails, whatever the fuck. And I looked up and it was 14-0. Like it was so quick.
Yeah, punched him right in the mouth. And so, David Montgomery goes out. I mean, obviously it's like, okay, it's the Jahmyr Gibbs show. I mean, when you had a 2 running back situation, we've had this debate, 2 quarterbacks, no quarterbacks, and vice versa for I guess the running backs. But I mean, like Jahmyr Gibbs is a very capable just solo back. But I am curious if this is the straw that breaks the camel's back on the Lions, because David Montgomery was quite the difference maker. I mean, like the Lions season-ending injury list, their IR list is well known, and up against a team like Buffalo, is there a concern about the title hopes of the Lions?
Yeah, and I would say absolutely. I mean, they've been kind of holding it together with string, it seems like, these last few weeks. Yeah, and now they're at risk of losing the first place bye, and they more than any team probably needed that week off just to rekindle. But yeah, this is huge. I think the confidence I've had for the Lions these past few weeks, if not months, is dwindling. Yeah,
They're not going to beat the Chiefs anyway. But here's what I found interesting. I feel like the NFL, and this, I understand that it's a long running thing. My disdain for how the NFL views the Herberts or the Allens of the world, right? I 1000% feel like Josh Allen deserves MVP.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've got a bet on it, and it would pay me over $100. I'd love that.
But I feel like the NFL is going through the same thing like the NBA last year, where Jokic, and wise and everything else, has been playing better than everyone, but they just couldn't give him a third MVP. They gave it to somebody else.
Yeah, and
down the list, outside of record, which is 2 games apart for record.
Yeah,
and Jackson is playing better than Josh Allen. Touchdowns, interceptions, completions, attempts, everything.
Right.
And the gap, I mean, this is like the same thing we have with the Heisman. It's like Lamar Jackson is plus 210 to win the MVP and Josh Allen is minus 1,000. The gap is what's crazy. Like, why is it that big? When technically Lamar Jackson is beating him in every fucking stat. But it's like, I don't know. Do you guys agree with this? Is like, you put somebody up on the You
pedestal.
you put them up on a pedestal, or you put their picture up on the wall.
Oh, I got you.
And it's like, unless they fuck up, it's theirs.
Yeah, I think that like for the longest time, the NFL has and pundits and whomever have wanted Josh Allen.
They've been wanting.
Yeah,
I
much
get,
to your dismay.
I'm not against it, but I just thought that was interesting because that's the same thing. Is like, do we give Lamar the third? Because that changes the history. The same way that you give Jokic an NBA MVP for the third time.
Yeah, and I think that too. Like we've talked about Derrick Henry, his teammate. Then you have Saquon and Jalen Hurts on the same team. They kind of like steal attention away from each other a little bit. Where Josh Allen, and to another degree with Patrick Mahomes, they're standalones. Like you can point and be like, that's the guy. Versus making the argument one week after the other, because like Jalen Hurts was incredible this past weekend, and Saquon Barkley, I'm pretty sure, didn't score a touchdown, right? So then you're kind of trading off between your MVP caliber guys.
For sure. And that's kind of in line with what I was going to say. If you look at Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, I think the edge that you give to Josh Allen is like the percentage of responsibility that he has for those wins, whereas Lamar has a little bit more to lean on and divvy that responsibility. I still think that he holds the majority for his team being successful, but I think Josh Allen within the Bills holds a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, and Josh Allen has the opportunity to like shed the Stephon Diggs, like the wide receiver one type of thing, where again it's like you're almost like stripping things back on him for him to like seemingly shine more. So I understand kind of like whether it's fair or not. Like I totally understand.
That's what
why it is the way it is.
That point is what I mean, like why he still deserves it. But I think it's worth having a conversation that Lamar's still there. Lamar's still there. But granted, you're comparing Derrick Henry to James Cook. You're comparing Mark Andrews to Khalil Shakir, or like a less version of Amari Cooper or whatever that he got later in the season. So I get it. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that he had Amari Cooper as a wide receiver one.
Yeah, and which he will, winning the MVP is a true testament to like how we know about the Mac Hollins, we know about the James Cook or the Ray Davis or any of these other guys that he's made better because he's playing so well. So I get it. We'll see if he can still beat Mahomes though.
Yeah,
right.
a guy like Khalil Shakir could maybe have the same stat lines with like five or six other teams. Any other team, he would be a nobody, Yeah.
No, 1,000%. And I thought that it was interesting, if I could switch gears a little bit, which is Patrick Mahomes getting injured towards the end of their game. Speaking of another MVP, an MVP caliber candidate, where some people were saying, oh, it's the perfect time for Mahomes to look like he's got a high ankle sprain so that people start counting him out. It's pretty on trend, on schedule for a ankle injury for Mahomes at this time of year. However, he is a full participant. Looks like he might end up playing. Who knows? I might this Saturday with the Texans, an underdog with, I don't know how serious Mahomes' injury is. If this is all smoke and mirrors, maybe sprinkle some money on the Texans as an underdog at plus 154. Who knows?
It's exactly what they want.
That's what they want. Yeah, that's what they want. I know. I'm thinking like
Mahomes doesn't sit out injuries. I mean, the guy plays hurt all the time. He just doesn't sit out.
That's true. Very, very true.
They do have Carson Wentz, so who knows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
switching to the NCAA football. Before we get into the college football playoff, it's a little bit delayed, but I still think that we should talk about it. It's relevant. Ash, are you making moves during the fantasy? I just got a notification that you added Matthew Stafford and dropped Caleb Williams on the podcast. I knew he looked distracted.
I have Patrick Mahomes. I got to make sure I have a good backup.
I'm breaking news for the fact that you had Caleb Williams in the first place. Caleb Williams. Okay, let's talk about that. So Caleb Williams, again, body language sucks. Like he looks like he's just like totally like like on another planet, just like you are, Braxton. Very bad to see there with Caleb Williams. So I think we all knew that was happening.
Yeah. And I know I'm contradicting my own point from earlier this season. Yeah. And I was pretty high on the fact like, hey, Caleb Williams, if you come in here and you can't make this work with this roster, that it's on you. But somehow the Bears organization has done enough up to this point for me to be back on his side and be like, okay, this team, it can't handle and rookie quarterbacks. This is what, like third one in a row.
Think about I think you can clown on Caleb Williams all you want, and maybe some of it is deserved, but the only quarterback that has been sacked more times than Caleb Williams is fucking David Carr with the Houston Texans. I mean, Caleb Williams is running for his life every down.
Yeah.
And do you expect your rookie quarterback to, I mean, a veteran quarterback wouldn't do well with that.
Yeah.
And just running around all the fucking time. He doesn't have an opportunity to see a route through. He's just running the whole fucking time. And somehow the Bears are still not as bad as Carolina, as Las Vegas, as anyone else.
I would argue that they're looking like they're worse than those teams.
Not lately.
You know, it is a race to the bottom, and the Bears are very much part of that. If I'm thinking like, who would I rather be right now? I'd almost rather be the Carolina Panthers. I'm not sure. I mean, I know that like the Bears still have draft picks and all this other stuff, and like they're going to have an opportunity to, you know, go and hire a head coach and potentially an offensive minded guy. I know you probably have a rebuttal. I wanted to.
Yeah. And
did you have a thought on that?
I was just going to say, how many games did the Bears lose that's less than a touchdown?
Yeah. And
compared to the other worst teams.
Right.
Like the Bears have rarely been blown out. Caleb Williams have somehow kept them in the fucking game.
Yeah. I mean,
every single time.
Yeah. I mean, this last.
I would say maybe half the time, not every single time. They've had a few nasty ones.
They've had less blowouts than the Raiders. They've had less blowouts than the Panthers, even with the recent resurgence of the Panthers since Bryce Young came back. They've had less blowouts. They've had more close games than anyone else on the bottom.
You know what's pretty wild is that I'm feeling like we're in that there's like deja vu that's happening. Is that someone was floating out the possibility, and I think that Mike Vrabel might end up back at Ohio State, but people were wondering, could he end up in Chicago? And I couldn't help but think, and this is again the former Titans head coach who came in after Ken Wisenhunt went 2-14 with Marcus Mariota in Marcus Mariota's first year. I was like, are they about to bring in Mike Vrabel? To be the head coach, a defensive-minded guy, where you have your, number one overall pick to like ruin him yet again. And so it just felt like deja vu.
I agree. It's a terrible idea because Vrabel's more on the defensive side.
Yeah.
And the Bears defense, I would say outside of Caleb Williams being decent, a big reason why they've been in games is because of their defense. Their defense has always been good, no matter who's running it. I don't think you need a Vrabel. I think you need a Ben Johnson caliber or a Bieniemy, like an offensive fucking minded coach to get Caleb Williams to the next level.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Bieniemy. He was on Fox Sports Radio. He was on Colin Cowherd's show this week. He was talking about how good of relationship he has with Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears. It felt not coincidental at all that here he was talking about the Bears and how chummy he is with Ryan Poles and everything too. That name has always surfaced, and all the stuff with Bieniemy no longer being at UCLA and how planned that was, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think that you might have a point there. There's obviously Cliff Kingsbury in that relationship. He's had that resurgence there in Washington.
But he has as somebody in a good situation doesn't have any reason to leave.
Yeah,
In Washington, he has a pretty good situation.
Ben Johnson doesn't have any reason to leave.
Exactly. I'm not
Ben
expecting
Johnson,
those guys to leave. I'm saying anyone that's that caliber, like an offensive-minded one. Ben Johnson doesn't have any reason to leave. Kingsbury doesn't have any reason to leave. Bieniemy could come.
Oh, sure.
He's just been fired by UCLA.
Yeah.
He could come. Somebody with that caliber offensive mindset should be with the Bears.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Ben Johnson is not going to go to the Lions. He's definitely the top of the list when it comes to sought after coaches. I don't think he's going to, if he has the pick of the litter of available spots, I doubt he chooses Chicago.
I could see, hey, you bankroll a guy. He's always talked about certain fits. Huh?
Same with Kingsbury.
Oh, sure. I think that Johnson has been pretty selective about where he wants to go. I'm not sure who's going to end up. We're always going to have 5 or 6, maybe even 7 jobs open.
Also think that's easy for us to say. We're and I'm not saying they're not seeing that. I'm not saying that Ben Johnson isn't seeing how much of a dumpster fire the Bears are. But let's say the Lions come up short again. It's not wild to think that as an OC, you entertain a head coaching job for not only more money, but the fantasy, the thought of, what if I can turn this around? Because worst case scenario, I go back to the same position. It's not like it's all well and dandy in fucking Detroit. If they come up short winning the Super Bowl again, or just making it to the fucking game, why wouldn't he entertain possibly being the head coach of Chicago? Or anywhere else?
I think the money is, you mentioned the money part of it. The McCaskies, or whatever their name is, in Chicago are notoriously tight with their money. I think not only is the organization shitty, but I don't think they're going to offer him the most money. Yeah,
Actually not.
Yeah, and if I don't know, if I'm a coach and I'm looking at 2 situations, and even if the Bears pays me $1 million more or whatever, if there's another situation that's better ownership, better GM, I think that I don't know. I think that you'd take that, right?
Yeah, I'm saying regardless, the Lions is in a perfect situation. He could go. He could go.
Yeah, I think that he's the one in wait.
For sure. And he was last year too, and he decided to stay. So he might do that again.
I do it again. It's got to be the right fit. And if all the stars, just like the ones behind you, Braxton, have to align. Stars seemingly aligned for Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels. We gave that about 2 seconds of none of our time last week. You said this.
We couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, I'm
could
pretty
not
sure
have been more wrong.
Then I even cut it out of the podcast because it was already done and over by the time I was even able to edit it. And so I'm not sure that people even heard that we just gave it no time and attention at all. A little interesting. Sounds like, Belichick didn't think that maybe there was going to be enough for him to, enough opportunity in the NFL. I think that he's got Mike Lombardi there as the GM of the program. So maybe he gets to stay out of the NIL or whatever. I just don't really, for a guy like Belichick, when you see legacy coaches like Nick Saban and in the basketball realm, Tony Bennett and other veteran coaches leaving because of the NIL, because they go, I can't handle it. to see a guy like Bill Belichick run to the NCAA at this time when the NIL is a thing felt so weird to me. And who knows if it'll work.
He's such a weird guy that it makes me think that this is not a football decision.
Yeah. What was it?
I don't know, like his girlfriend. His girlfriend's running an Airbnb in fucking Charlotte, and he just wants to be there near the beaches and shit. I don't fucking know. Like it feels like such a strange commitment to do that.
It's weird.
So I did hear like in the contract that he signed with North Carolina, there's some very unusual clauses that essentially at any time during this off season, if he gets, any interest from an NFL team, he can pursue that. So I almost think because Bill Belichick is a freak that he's probably gotten to the point where he recognizes that he doesn't know how to live without coaching football. And he's like, hey, I'm going to take this job, but I'm going to make sure in the contract that I can go and, see whatever NFL team I want. And if that doesn't work out, at least I'm still around football and I don't go fucking crazy.
You're like drumming up some artificial interest that, to try and leverage yourself. And I've seen some stuff there too. I know that there's like a $10 million buyout that then de-escalates to $1 million after a certain time. But, like when it comes down to it and you're talking about billionaires or whatever, someone's going to pay $10 million and it's not going to be him to get out of that contract if he so chooses. So, yeah, it's just kind of,
sure.
Oh, yeah, he's desirable, and maybe that's where that comes with it. And maybe he'll actually coach. Maybe he's like backing up what he says, but it all feels weird still.
The funniest thing is, what if North Carolina is in the fucking top 4 with a bye in the college football playoff next season, and they're playing for the national championship because he's the coach?
Yeah, and who knows? Like there's talk that maybe they might try and recruit either Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning, whomever they decide. Texas decides they want to be their quarterback of the future, and to shell out unprecedented numbers to get either of those guys, whomever is not the starter, to go.
Yeah. And I would definitely bet if we could, I would bet right now that North Carolina is in the college football playoff or next year.
Next year.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy would it be? Because another program that's being brought up, since what is his name?
Yeah, and
Cutcliffe that left Duke, and now Manny Diaz is running it.
Oh, yeah.
What if it's Duke Carolina in the national championship of college football?
Yeah.
How insane would that?
That would be pretty insane. You've got yourself a football playoff on the horizon. We're going to talk about that in a second, but we are removed from the Heisman. And I wanted to get your guys' quick thoughts on that and how it all shook out. Because obviously, like,
You already know my thoughts.
Because obviously, Genty wins the Maxwell Award, which is, a fan vote and coaches and players, whatever. You get the Heisman, which is the majority of it is media driven. And and then obviously, like, Travis Hunter wins. And I think we all agree that Genty should have been the guy.
Not him, not Braxton.
Yeah, I think they made the right decision. Yeah,
and they made the right decision.
I do.
Do you think that players should be allowed to, do you think that there should be campaigns allowed for the Heisman? Think that players Travis Hunter shows up on College Game Day and he's wearing mixing in his numbers with the Heisman and all this other stuff. Like, I understand if a player is like flashing a Heisman pose, and if there's a sign and someone in the crowd wants should there be active campaigning when it comes to the Heisman? That's just part of it.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, and
here's the final thing, because my stance on the Heisman has been clear outside of my bet. But here's the final thing I'm going to say about it, whether you agree or not.
Yeah, and
can't deny the fact that because it's the world we live in today.
Yeah,
can't deny the fact that some of it fell down to a popularity contest. The fact that Colorado is seen more. The fact that Travis Hunter is in live streams of people that are well known, right? I'm not saying these people got to vote, but his face is just in front of us a lot more than Genty. You can't use strength of schedule because we're talking 75th and 72nd. It's 3 strength of schedules apart.
Yeah, it's like virtually identical.
It's absolutely a clueless and ignorant take to be like, well, who did he play in the Mountain West? Fuck you. Who did Colorado play? It's the same fucking strength of schedule. It's 3 apart. But
yeah,
the gap, the odds, the odds is problematic. It sets bad precedent because what you're telling me is because somebody played 2 positions. The only way the odds would make sense if Travis Hunter was number 1 wide receiver in the country and number 1 cornerback in the country to make up for Genty's stats. What you're telling me, based on this decision of Hunter being minus 1,000 ahead of this best running back, one of the best running backs we've seen, is no running back will ever win the Heisman ever again.
Ever.
He was just short of Barry Sanders and like a couple stats short of Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon didn't fucking win it. You're telling me that a running back will never win it again.
Yeah.
Even accomplishing and achieving Genty's stats.
Ashton Genty, 2497 rushing yards, is 4th most all time. 29 rushing touchdowns, at 6th most all time. A 97.8% rushing grade. That's the highest in a PFF college. 882 yards after contact. 135 forced missed tackles this upcoming season.
And people like to say, well, Genty had a shit ton more carries. Sure. But look at the yards per carry. It's 6.6. He didn't average 2.6 or 3 yards per carry.
And yards after contact.
And the biggest, let's say that I give you the Heisman. I'll give you the fucking Heisman. The Biletnikoff Award is given to the best receiver in the country. Was Travis Hunter the best receiver in the country? Can you honestly sit there and tell me Nick Nash was the best receiver in the country from San Jose State? Regardless of strength of schedule, the best receiver in the country, his stats outweigh the strength of schedule. If anything, he should win the Biletnikoff Award. The Biletnikoff Award went to a popularity fucking vote. That is your biggest tell on why he won the fucking Heisman. I love Travis Hunter. I love everything Colorado. I love everything Prime. He did not deserve the Heisman over Genty. He absolutely 5,000,000% did not deserve the Biletnikoff Award for the best receiver in the country. That's it. Everyone can go fuck themselves.
You want to go ahead and drop that mic real quick?
Thank you for your words. I definitely
take
do.
The body of Christ.
Yeah.
I do agree with the Biletnikoff. That was just unneeded. However, the one thing that I will say, because I do agree with almost everything that you say about, excuse me, about, now I'm spacing his name, running back.
Genty?
Yeah, Genty. The only thing that I would say that separates them is, as Peter was reading off those statistics, 4th in history, 6th in history, he's in the top 10 in every single category. There's no doubt about it. But there have been other people who have done the same thing, if not better, in the history, if not recent history of college football. If we're looking at what Travis Hunter has done, not only playing 2 positions, because I know there's other players who have done that, but actual playing time and the number of snaps that he played, and to be at a almost top level in both those positions while playing over 100 snaps a game is insanity. It's hard to even do that in high school football. So that's the only reason I personally give the edge to Travis Hunter, because I agree. Genty is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. If it was any other year, he probably would have won it.
No, he wouldn't have won it. I mean, like quarterback. This is a quarterback award, if not for Travis Hunter. I mean, he's not like next year. Like if there's like a comparable, Arch Manning goes off. Manning. Oh look, Arch Manning. He's gonna win the Heisman.
Yeah, and that goes back to Miguel's point that it definitely is somewhat of a popularity contest, and that is unfortunate that he's playing for Boise State that doesn't get that airtime. You're absolutely right. That's a huge part of it. But if I'm just talking talent and skill, that's the reason I lean towards Travis Hunter. It's over and done with. Who really gives a fuck at the end of the day?
And it didn't. So there's not a lot of people happy that Travis Hunter won, especially the two people here on this couch. You couldn't even get Travis Hunter's girlfriend to stand up during. You guys track like what happened with Travis Hunter's girlfriend post.
Dude, I honestly,
Heisman.
I feel bad for her.
Do you do?
You feel bad for her? I feel bad for him. What are you talking about?
Bad for him. We're just like,
I feel bad for both of them, to be honest.
Talk about a person who made it about her.
I understand that this is like, we don't know the whole story, and we like to, we give opinions, and it's our job. That's fine. But there's been several articles about Travis Hunter, because the thing is, he's a likable guy, and maybe that plays into him winning it.
Sure.
Winning the Heisman, but he's a 4.0 student, being a great football player on both sides, and the dude doesn't party.
Nope.
He plays video games. He does all that.
In fact, he takes her to parties and stays in the car.
He drops her off to parties so she can part. I'm like, to me, if that's real, if that's not something to just give us something to talk about, if that's real, which let's entertain for a second that that's real. You would rather be at a party to spend time with your fucking boyfriend while he waits in the car. He has no interest in going to parties.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
you don't deserve this fucking guy. I feel bad for him. Yeah. I don't feel bad for her.
And they're engaged. Like they're getting married like right after the draft, before minicamp.
It's all red flags that's being brought up.
Yeah. I don't want to dwell on it too much because I don't know a bunch, but it was just kind of like, damn, like, because I have nothing negative to say personally about like the person that is Travis Hunter. I just happen to disagree with him winning it. I've had my takes on the Johnny Manziels of the world. This is not that.
Because flip that situation. What if Travis Hunter loved going to parties and his girlfriend just loved waiting in the car?
Come on. Good for him either way.
So, boys, we have ourselves the college football playoff round 1 game. These ones being played at teams, the higher seeds home fields. First game Friday night, we have Notre Dame hosting Indiana, a battle of the Indiana schools, which it took me a while to put together. It's just like the 7-10, then Notre Dame a 7-point favorite, 52.5 over under, with Notre Dame at minus 280. Suppose I'll call my shot or like keep it here. Notre Dame, I say, wins this game because I said they were the real deal earlier this year.
I am taking Indiana to cover and possibly win.
So you're taking the 7 in this game.
Absolutely.
Would you like to bet real dollars?
Why not?
I'll give you the points.
7.5.
No, I'll give you the 7.
Oh, I was confirming it was at 7 or 7.5.
Oh, it's 7. I thought you were trying to bait me into 7.5.
Yeah. No, I'll do that.
20 American dollars.
I mean,
what makes you feel like Signetti and the boys can pull this one off?
Vibes. I don't know. I feel it in my plums.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Notre Dame, though, too. Just got a series of everything.
I just feel like I've seen this play out before. Notre Dame in a big game, in a position to, go a step further in the playoffs or whatever against a team they should beat on paper, and then they just fumble the bag.
It's looking like a nice chilly game. Snow showers on Friday. It looks like in the morning the snow showers, and then it'll come back in the evening. So right around kickoff, it looks like there might be some snow. It will be very cold there in South Bend.
Is it at Notre Dame?
It's at Notre Dame.
I mean,
I don't.
I want
Both 11-1.
I want Indiana to win.
Yeah,
but I don't think people cover. But I just don't think. This isn't me like believing in Notre Dame. I just think that Indiana's been tested once this season, and they failed that test by 21 points. And I don't see them a superior Notre Dame. I want them to. But I think that'd be great.
But you can agree Notre Dame is not Ohio State.
No, not at all. But Notre Dame still has superior skill players than Indiana. Because what you're riding with essentially in this game is like recruits at Notre Dame are better. They have the same record, and you're kind of hoping for the rah-rah with Indiana. It's like Signetti and all of that shit. That's all cool. And as a fan, I want Indiana to win. I don't see it happening. Not even to the caliber of the Buckeyes, but just I don't see it happen.
I mean, like outside, like Notre Dame is nearly unblemished this year. It just happens that their one blemish was a monster black eye. And that was what happened with Eastern Illinois. And, they come in 11-1. Signetti, to your guys' point, they finally face a big team and they don't rise to the occasion. But Notre Dame was close to perfect outside of a 16-14 loss.
But think about how we view powerhouse teams, or powerhouse football programs like the Ohio State and the Alabama and Georgia, and Notre Dame technically belongs in that group, right? Alabama had a bad loss against Vanderbilt. Technically, they were not able to bounce back. They lost more.
Yeah.
Notre Dame lost a game bad enough that everyone crossed them off.
Yeah.
But
watch them win.
Watch
them win the whole way.
Fucked up sin.
They haven't.
And they're playing at home against an inferior team who's been tested once with a ranked team and lost by 21 points. I don't see it, Bob.
Yeah. He doesn't see it, Bob. SMU, Penn State is your first game on the slate on Saturday. What time are you going to be going and having your big ass baby?
The surgery will start at 7:30 a.m.
Oh. People might be able to is there going to be a TV?
No, pay attention to your baby, dude. Like, this is the
you don't need
Saturday. You don't need to watch college. Even if Oregon's playing, you don't need to pay attention to college football on Saturday.
First of all, there is a TV. Second of all, if you think that my wife doesn't want to watch football, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, she'll want it. Like, she's going to be sitting there. Yeah. She didn't have to push or nothing. They're just cutting that thing out.
I mean, realistically, our baby will probably be born by kickoff.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, like, this isn't like, oh, you might be actively in labor for hours. Like, this thing.
No, it'll take like 90 minutes at most.
Yeah.
People
going sweet.
I bet she does not want anything to do with college football.
I think she might, actually. Anything to take your mind.
Yeah, I think you're very wrong.
Penn State hosts SMU. Penn State is a 8.5 point favorite. Again, 20 degrees. I think it's going to be at kickoff.
If I'm taking an underdog game, it's that.
This is the one.
SMU has been tested. Penn State has barely
all their big
has lost a lot of big games. SMU looks fucking good. If I'm taking a big underdog game, I mean, we're probably placing A bets. I'm taking SMU.
They didn't look good in their championship game against Clemson.
People
And those Texas boys in 20-degree weather. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Penn State will. Who knows? I mean, like,
I like SMU on this.
do you want?
Like SMU.
What's your bet then? If we're at 8.5,
People take the points. I'm not going to squeeze you for more.
it's a lot of points. I mean, it's like,
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, like,
You got to take the point. You got to take the points, Pete.
We're not taking
these
money line in playoffs.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, these are playoff games.
8.5 on Penn State. I'll take Penn State.
Okay. 20.
There you go. Yes.
What currency? People. Yeah, 50 cents. 20 American. I'll take SMU.
American dollars at 8.5. The same point line, 52.5. But Penn State, we know. And who knows? Like, to your point, everyone's looking at Penn State. Penn State's got the easiest road to the championship. They've got to do is beat SMU and Boise State and blah, blah, blah. And as a team like Penn State that has not risen to the occasion ever under James Franklin in big games, that could be a dangerous bet for me. So I reckon.
People.
Who knows, too? They're going to be without their backup quarterback, which is actually a bigger deal for anyone who follows sports. This Prabula guy, I don't even remember his first name. I just remember their backup quarterback who does play. He's in offensive sets for Penn State, forced to enter the transfer portal. He is a guy who grew up near Penn State, always wanted to go to Penn State, but had NIL offers and had to enter the portal and all these things. He was kind of forced his hand. He's not going to be there. So if anything happens, Penn State's going to be on their third string quarterback.
Drew's not going anywhere.
Yeah. An interesting conversation that I don't think we have time for in regards to what can be done about the NIL.
I have one quick question. Do you know what school he's going to?
No, I don't think that they even indicated what he was.
Because they're obviously like the transfer portal deadline. They're going to have to change that so this doesn't happen. But there's several other players who are going into the transfer portal, but the school that's receiving them has told the players, like, hey, play out your playoffs and bowl games. Don't worry about it. But whatever school he's going to specifically has said, no, you've got to come right now, which
right. And I think that
I can kind of see both sides.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's Ohio State.
There's obviously like a lot of the things from an academic standpoint, because supposedly these players are supposed to go to class. It's like where you have schools on semesters versus on term schedules, which is very different about when teams start. So it's murky. I think that we all agree that something needs to be done and regulated in order to get guys on campus. But I think that it's like, if you can be enrolled at a new school but still play for your old team, I think that like these guys are so used to doing online classes anyways that it's like, if you're not on campus, who cares?
I mean, the only reason this is news is because of the transfer portal, but the backup quarterback for Penn State is never going to play on Saturday.
I mean, he's been on.
He's
like,
played a lot.
He's on the field.
He's played a lot.
Like Taysom Hill?
Yes.
I would say like
I've watched a lot of
like a Michelob Ultra of Taysom Hill.
Yes, Taysom Hill light, but still they have like built packages where he comes in on short yardage and certain schemes and stuff like that. It's not just like your typical second string who wears the headset.
Well, I think after the performance of Drew against Oregon, although they lost that game, like dudes playing the whole fucking game, so I think it might be less of a concern for Saturday.
I'm not concerned about Texas's ability to beat Clemson. Braxton and I saw this team in the flesh. They were very bad.
Very.
I don't want to even talk about. I think that Texas rolls. If anyone wants Clemson and the points, I will take Texas -12 all day.
No.
So
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Tennessee, Ohio State is your battle between your 8-9. How much are we giving Tennessee on this one? They are 7.5-point dog here.
People. That's
I
a
think-
bigger spread than I expected.
I completely agree. I think that's it. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think they're giving Ohio State too much credit. Tennessee
Where is it?
definitely.
Ohio State.
People.
Tennessee covers for sure.
I
I like Tennessee on that one for those points. I like Tennessee.
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope, fingers crossed. And I'm not, again, I want to make this very clear before people like Miguel start chirping. I'm not scared or concerned about playing Ohio State again. However, when's the last time Oregon played Tennessee? Like, it's been a long time.
I mean, it was the LaMichael James days where they were down, and then there was the lightning delay, and then they came back and boat raced Tennessee there.
And I would love to see that matchup. So I've got Tennessee in this game.
Tennessee outright, like you think they're advancing, or from a betting standpoint, you would play the.
I'm
point?
putting from a betting standpoint, I would take the points. From a fan standpoint, they're winning.
You wanna take Ohio State.
No, I really don't, because like Ryan Day has also failed recently to win big games or struggled in big games, and not only that, he's kind of in this weird Kirk Cousins position where like he might be coaching for his job here, where there's so many people like, you know, again, we've talked about Mike Vrabel. There's talks about him going back to Ohio State and possibly being that guy too. So who knows? I think there's a lot of pressure on Ryan Day, despite the outward support. That support can change.
How about this? This is the best game on Saturday.
It is. Yeah.
And I know I'm going to bet it at the casino, but why don't we do what's the point spread?
We've got 7.5 in favor of Ohio State.
I want to take Tennessee. Do you want to give me like less points?
I would give you
straight up
points.
No, I don't want to do straight up. It's playoffs. I just don't want to do anything straight up in the playoffs. But do you want to give me? You want to take Ohio State -3?
Sure, I'll do
For
Ohio
20?
State -3 for 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Ohio State again, the home team. I imagine it will also be chilly, considering that you have this like upper Midwest type of vibes here. So.
You have you two at 7.5 for
7 flat.
It's 7 flat for blanking.
Which one? We have the bet
Braxton takes
for Indiana
at
Notre
plus 7.
Yeah.
Peter, you and I have SMU at plus 8.5, and then I have Tennessee +3.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and we all agree that Texas is going to win by a lot against Clemson, and I will eat my hat if they don't. But before we get out of here, a couple of things in the NBA.
Be sure to put that in the notes, Miguel, that he will eat his hat.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, a couple of things with the NBA. The Bucks win the NBA Cup, and your boy Darvin Ham is now 14-0 in the NBA.
Isn't it funny that the Bucks win the shitty Emirates NBA Cup, no backlash to when the Lakers won it, and they're like, does this really matter?
I saw it.
Does this really matter?
I saw Giannis and Dame and everyone like lifting it up, and then Doc and all the like. It was so fake. It was the most phony celebration that I've seen, that they thought that this mattered. Like they're, even like Giannis saying, "Oh, $500,000 is life-changing money. You put a down payment on a house." Like Dame's talking about giving away that money to the support staff or whatever. So it's just like who cares if they didn't care? They just happened to be the ones that won, and they get an extra $500,000. It's nice for the two-way players, because you got guys who are making $500,000 a year, and then they get another $500K from the NBA Cup. They double their salary, so that's pretty neat. I mean, like in the grand scheme of like what this means or whatever, I did place a $5 bet on my Milwaukee Bucks to win the championship this year, plus 1,700.
But I'm saying overall with NBA fans in general, it's the Lakers got so much shit for winning the NBA Cup.
Yeah, I mean, they're
for celebrating, and it's like Milwaukee has gotten none. This is the only ring that Damian Lillard's going to ever win in his fucking career.
It was interesting to see, the Lakers got a ton of shit last year because they popped a bunch of champagne, and the Bucks, this is my second callback now to Michelob Ultra, just had Michelob Ultras in their locker room to celebrate. No champagne celebrations or anything like that, but just some
people. That's kind of smart.
Job's not finished. Job's finished. Job's done.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Yeah, it just seems so funny. It was like part of like, it was so contrived. I know that they're trying to do it to drum up interest. This goes back to like everyone's been talking this week about what to do with the NBA because the games are slowing down. There's too many threes. Analytics have ruined the sport. Here, this, that, another thing. Because ratings are down. Ratings have been down considerably over the last 10 years, but more specifically, just this year at 28%. I'm curious to your guys' thoughts. Like, if you were to change anything in the NBA, any rule change or anything, what would you do? People. And if you need a second, I'll tell you mine. I've got two.
I'll go first because mine are probably the least likely to happen.
Sure.
Besides the first one, shorten the season. I think that's an easy one. Make the games more valuable. You have your star players wanting to play more games. They don't want to rest as much because they don't have as much time to give up, I guess, when they sit out.
Load management is a huge issue with the NBA. Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is if you're going to have these in-season tournaments, what if you made it so people like, and this is, obviously a little out of hand, but what if you had to like pay in people like to the pool, to the prize pot?
Yeah.
And so it's and the NBA contributes money, but everybody is invested somehow to where it makes it that much more valuable and maybe do more of
a percentage of salary or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could get behind it.
I think ultimately the money is less of a thing when it comes to the players and the teams. One of mine would be to shorten the season because it affects load management outside of just punishing them for awards. I think shortening the season makes the games more valuable. I do agree. But the part of the reason that Adam Silver created the in-season tournament is to make the players and fans care more about part of the regular season leading up to, because the reason the in-season tournament was created is to drum up interest by Christmas, because Christmas creates a lot of interest, and then outside of that, it's getting closer to the playoffs, right? In-season tournament, I think, would create more interest and more competitive games if the winner of that, instead of paying in, but if the winner of that gets a considerable reward for actual NBA playoffs, like gets a spot in the playoffs where the in-season tournament, people want to win it because it means you don't have to be in a play-in game for the playoffs. You are guaranteed one of the 8 spots.
Yeah.
Or like you're guaranteed home court advantage.
Something that'll help you in the real NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what I would go.
Guaranteed a minimum of play-in, even if you haven't earned it. And if you have already like exceeded that and you're just like good, then maybe you qualify for something else because, hey, I didn't qualify for the play-in. I would have gotten it, but I already exceeded that. I can get that. I'm behind that. For me, I think that my longer-term solution for the NBA is to look at the three-point line. The three-point line and the way the analytics have gone has absolutely destroyed the NBA. because what we're seeing is guys just chucking things up, even big guys. I was looking this up this morning. I was looking up the Chicago Bulls dynasty when they were winning in the 90s and just like what the game was like. Obviously, like, pace of play, size of guys, all of that are different. But like you're talking about guys in the 90s where the top team in the NBA was shooting 20 to 24 3-pointers in a game. Now, and that was like throughout that like early to mid 90s. Now you have teams averaging over 40 threes per game. And they're just chucking things up because the analytics says so. So here's a couple of things. I'm proposing the possibility of 3-pointers. You get like an allotment of 3-pointers per game. Maybe it's 25, maybe it's 30. You can shoot that amount, and those would count for 3. Anything over that amount, if you make it, it counts for 2. It's just a 2-point shot. The other thing would be is to eliminate the corner 3. Back up the 3-point line and then eliminate it so that you don't have the opportunity for the corner 3. It allows you to spread the floor, to limit spreading the floor. It incentivizes you to go back to the mid-range should you choose. And then it limits, like your possibility of where those threes come from. You kind of just like eliminate the corner 3 altogether. So they're basically elbow or straightaway threes. And maybe they're a little bit further back. The 3-point line, 1,000% is destroying the NBA right now.
Just make it like a small Mormon church basketball court.
So yeah, it's similar.
Perfect.
So those are my 2. Limit the amount of attempts that you get, and anything over that allotment is just a 2-pointer. And eliminate the corner 3 where you could even back it up.
I see where that is coming from. I don't completely disagree, but that's like us naming what we would change is less likely to happen. Your point will never happen.
Which one?
Both.
Neither will happen.
No, because what you're essentially proposing is let's punish the players today for being better than the players in the 90s. The players today are more skilled, better shooters.
They're better shooters.
Freakishly fucking athletic. So we can't change the rules based on how much better they are than the players in the 90s and the 80s. But what's destroying the NBA, I'm not saying that the 3-point line, and I'm not, what I mean by what I don't necessarily disagree is, yeah, people are just chucking up shots. I get it. It's not the best for the game. But that's not the main thing that's destroying the NBA. The main thing that's destroying the NBA is it has become WWE. It has become more of an entertainment than an athletic event, because it's become more like, imagine, we were talking about this the other day. What if we made our fantasy league like insanely crazy for points, right? The NBA is just shooting for, let's score the most points. Let's have it be 150 to 145 regulation. That's not what's destroying the game. It's not the number of threes. It's the whole, the entire environment of the NBA. The fact that they don't call certain things because calling certain things would result into less points. The fact that you can take 17 fucking steps to score a basket and it's not called. The fact that the refs control the entire fucking game. You can travel. You can double dribble. You can carry.
Yeah.
That's what's destroying the game. It's not the number of threes they shoot up. It's the fact that Carmelo Anthony can take 7 steps to a 3 and shoot it.
Yeah.
The fact that James Harden can take 55 steps doing a step back 3 and make it and not be called. That's what's destroying the game.
I think that that's in part, and I agree with that 1,000%. I think that like what the NBA it runs the risk of doing is making any sort of like changes that makes them seem gimmicky. And I would rather them try to evolve and not do anything gimmicky. I think that, like, you know, there's going to be ebbs and flows all the time. You know, like when Michael Jordan retired, like the ratings dipped a ton, right? Like the NBA will come back. I know that Adam Silver was saying, well, hey, our ratings might be down, but our social media impressions are through the roof. Well, it's like, well, yeah, congratulations, you're clipified. You know, that's all you're good for right now. You know, the NFL, like, you're hanging on all these different plays and everything like that, that it's worth tuning in, where, gosh, like, there's so many games, like you said, Braxton, and you know, they're at weird times where you have other stuff that you know are balancing. You can't convince your wife to watch that while, you know, on a night where another show is on, whatever that is. I think that what's also just, go ahead, Braxton.
I was just going to say also how it's delivered to the public. Like NFL, I feel like it's fairly easy. Like it's one of, you know, just a few places. If you want to watch the game, you go to these, you know, 4 different outlets, or even probably less.
Yeah,
whereas
the national.
I was just going to the NBA. It's like, oh, well, I can watch this game, but not that game. They're on, you know, why is there a game on Saturday at noon? Like, it's a little bit harder to, you know, take in.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Think about it too. With the NFL, people that have NFL fans that watch, there's a lot of fundamentals in the NFL and in football in general. I hate that my toothache is probably making me sound like a fucking noob.
He's got a little bit.
Like, I feel like I have a lisp or something.
I haven't even noticed.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But in the NFL, people can't, like, you can't stop fundamentals in the NFL, right? But a lot of us fans tune in because we see the fundamentals on top of, like, the flashy Tyreek Hill plays and the Jamar Chase and all that. In the NBA, you're playing a team sport, but a lot of it is one-on-one, where you can't help but focus on how good this individual is.
Yeah, a lot of ISO ball.
So if you just imagine if Adam Silver just told the refs, hey, call it like you did in the 90s. This is a travel. This is a carry. This is a double dribble. This is all of that. I fucking guarantee you the ratings would move up, because a lot of the people that have tuned out are the people that are seeing that and is like, that's not how we hoop, man.
Yeah.
That's not how we fucking play basketball.
Yeah.
Man.
Don't game the game here.
Yeah. Like, right now it's an entertainment league. You know, I don't necessarily blame the players for gaming the NBA.
You want competition.
Yeah. But if you started calling it the way you're supposed to, the way that basketball is supposed to be called, and that's a travel, I bet you would get all of those people back.
We've got just a couple minutes left before we got to get out of here. The final thing that I would say about the NBA and what I think that they need to change, and I know that, like, it won't, is just, like, players leveraging where they want to go. Super teams, all of that. I just get so annoyed by, you know, guys jumping around KD doing that. Jimmy Butler, all of a sudden, oh, he wants to go to either the Suns or to the Warriors. Well, yeah, no shit. And that, to me, just, like, bothers the hell out of me. It's just players being able to control and doing super team stuff. This generation of players, I'm just kind of ready to.
You don't like employee power. It's CEO all the way, right?
CEO all the way, which kudos to Matt Ishabov for saying that the Suns owner, $2 for all concession stands at home for sodas, hot dogs, popcorn, all of that.
Peter says, remote work? No. You're in the office 5 days a week.
Collaboration.
I need to be able to breathe down your fucking neck.
Yeah.
Sounds like Pete.
We are going to be off for the next couple of weeks. Braxton is going to be doing his fatherly duties here. It's Christmas and New Year's, and while there are some big games to be had, it runs on some really weird weeks where no one's going to be, you know, no one's itching to hear us. So
we will resume, Braxton, if this is news to you, like January 7th probably is what's likely, because of all of the stuff that is happening.
Yeah, I I was going to ask you guys about that after we were done. So sounds good.
January 7th sounds good. We take the next 2 weeks off. People have money on DoorDash. Let your baby grow up. And then January 7th is good.
We'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be a man by then.
For the last time this year, Braxton.
People
Guys, baby.
Full hearts.
can't lose.
Good luck, buddy. Love you.
People up. People up. People up. People up.